Welcome, Exiles, to the second update for the Molten Strike character. We are fast, and we're actually tankier, and our gear got cheaper, because I ended up swapping to a Raider. I was feeling that the chain mechanics I set up for Deadeye weren't working as well as I thought they would have, and because of that, the chain setup didn't really quite make sense to be Deadeye with an entirely dead node there, so I swapped to Raider. The upside of going to Raider is permanent phasing. It makes mapping a lot smoother feeling, never getting stuck on any enemies. Really smooth there. And then there's other things like the minus 20 all res to nearby enemies. It's hard to get exposure for every single type, so Avatar of the Veil ends up feeling pretty good with the tri-elemental build, along with the fact it caps out our suppress and our avoid elemental ailments, and it caps it out by a mile. We were about 10% of avoidance away from getting capped out, and we got 50%. This means the boots are way cheaper because you don't have to craft them with loathing essences. It makes these boots basically, you remove the loathing essence mod, and they're basically 3-stat boots: movement, speed, strength, and suppression, and then you benchcraft life. So these are way cheaper now. And then it also means we have 40% suppression more than we had before, which means you could take suppress off the chest, you could take suppress off our shield, and all of a sudden the build's a lot more affordable. Now, I have actually overcapped these things because that's just what the gear I was crafting, and then I'm also thinking I'd potentially have some other ideas for this character I want to just test out with this archetype with some other skills, but I'll talk about that towards the end of the video. The main upgrade we made to the character, besides the Raider switch, is we grabbed triple temple gloves. I 100% do not recommend crafting these. You can get the double temple mod gloves for about like an X worth of recombinator attempts, and then you have a pretty good pair of gloves. I would go for burning and chilled for percent damage and flat damage myself. You don't really need the percent crit chance. You can get overcapped without it, I think. I went for the triple elemental gloves because I just thought it'd be fun to make, and I spent like 35x to 40x self-crafting these, and they're barely better than the double essence gloves. I do not recommend it. Just get double essence gloves. Don't torture yourself. I got really unlucky and got screwed crafting them, but just because of how bad that happened. But you know, that's how crafting can go sometimes. Other than that, the other big change to the character is we added in melding. We have so much free res because of our fake mage blood setup that we can afford to have a lot of minus res and still be way overcapped, and we're at 85 max all res. We can potentially get this higher if we get like 2 max all res on the shield, but that's going to be way more expensive to craft. We could get a level 21 purity device instead of a level 23 purity device instead of a level 21 with like +2 AoEs on our gloves or something like that, and that would get us all the way to 88 max res. And we could get another max res right here from Survivalist. There's some things we could do to start bumping that all the way up, getting closer to 90, but for right now I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm not really interested in squeezing out that extra budget. Something I'll save for later if I want to keep min-maxing this character. For the showcase today, I ended up prepping a Hunter beach map. We're just going to run real quick, and then just to showcase mapping, and then we have a Elder Slayers with Height of Hubris, and it has turbo speed, so hopefully it could be a nice showcase of what this build looks like in one of the harder invitation fights with double the effect. So let's get into it. I want to show you guys what this looks like while mapping. It looks, I would say, similar to what it did previously, minus the clunkiness of running into enemies. It's just way more, I think the word is smooth. It's way more smooth in terms of, we don't get stuck on enemies. We get to basically just run through enemies, which feels just way better in my opinion in terms of not having the clunkiness of, it's just phasing just feels really good. That all being said, the future of this character, I've been enjoying doing Molten Strike. I just cruised all the way through to, what is it, 95 now, where I haven't had any issues with deaths. It's been really, really smooth. But that all being said, I have some other attack skills I want to try. I actually want to try Spectral Throw with the Deadeye setup, just because I've liked the skeleton of this character so much. The feels good of movement speed. The defensive layers feel really good with the flasks and the high max res. So I want to try out some other skills potentially. So this might be the last video with Molten Strike. Maybe I'll try out the Spectral Throw. If it's not good, then I'll min-max Molten Strike further. But for right now, I'm just happy with what the character is. And there's just some other setups I want to try because I think they could be really cool. I was planning to do a, what's the word? A life tap setup, not life tap, Divine Blessing life tap setup, and that setup unfortunately bricks our Trinity because we deal too much fire damage. So I have it in my, like, you know, I can do it right here for an extra like 200 flat fire, which would be a nice single target boost. But unfortunately right now it's bricking my Trinity setup, so I either need to get a claw that has lightning instead of fire as one of the damage mods, or something else entirely to take advantage of that damage, because right now it's just bricking my Trinity setup. So that's something I'll add into the build later. Now, let's go ahead and do the Turbo Elder Slayers. Give you an idea of what this build looks like in a dangerous invitation fight. Hopefully this will showcase the defensive layers. If not, it'll showcase me dying, I guess. So yeah, let's go. We got Drox over here. Maybe he'll give me Barons on top of him. Gotta clear these banners off the field because they are quite negative for us. Whew. I should not have dove into the Veritania's multi-proj attack there. I think now that Drox is off the field, we should be a lot safer. Drox on the field with his banners, because he had, you know, turbo attack and cast speed, he just kept putting them everywhere, which made all the different guys basically immune to our attacks. So I wanted to do that Deathless, but we kind of threw there when I dove into Veritania's multi-proj attack. That attack does an immense amount of damage if you get right underneath it, and I kind of dove right into it. So I kind of misplayed that a little bit. And then Hunters, Snakes with faster attack and cast speed, they just did deal out a lot of damage. But regardless, we still did it somewhat cleanly, I'd say, and hopefully showcase what this character looks like in terms of tankiness and ability to do endgame content while being a very fast mapper, and while having a build set up for things like Inspired Learning for just some juicy mapping where you can steal rare buffs and get some nice speed going just because of things like that. There are multiple times where I'll pick up hasted buffs and I just start zipping around at 300 plus movement speed, and it just feels so clean, so smooth. So that is the update to the character. I'm excited to actually try out a Spectral Throw setup, see how that goes, maybe try out some other skills. Right now, Molten Strike has been pretty good. It might be the best skill we do. I'm not going to be doing Lightning Strike. I'm not going to be doing Spectral Helix. Skills like that that are just so much objectively better, right? They're meta. They're boring, they're stale, and I have no interest in playing them. So if you're asking me, will this build be good with Lightning Strike? Yeah, of course it'll be good with Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike is broken strong in comparison to most other attack-based skills, but I just don't want to try it because it's broken strong, right? I want to do different things, try things that are less done and more interesting. So anyways, that's the video for the character. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Take care, Exiles.